How many tracks have you put in this album?
I think there are 57 on it.
Oh, 57. Is that all?
There are so many tracks. You know, the wonderful thing, Gloria, I got to go back and record some of the early stuff that I did in this original recording studio with the original musicians, singing I Think I Love You, and I Woke Up in Love This Morning, and I Could Feel Your Heartbeat. I went back and re-looked at them, as well as, you know, Could It Be Forever and Cherish and How Can I Be Sure.
How terrific, though, to team up with the same musicians again.
It was so magical to go back in the same room we cut in with the same players 25 years later. And
Did you pay them the same amount of money?
Probably less. You know, they wanted to do it because they wanted to do it. And we flew a couple of them in because they no longer live in LA. But they were the top studio guys. And it was so fantastic for all of us to be there. And we were being interviewed by Entertainment Tonight and all these people because it was such an event. And they asked me, what's the difference now between, you know, then and now? And I said, the music's the same. I think we play just as well. It's just we need to take naps now. You know?
Regularly.
Regularly. After each track, we'd like...
Now, take me back to 72, because I said that was a hit in 72.
Yeah.
It was also the first time you came to London.
Oh, boy.
So when I said in the introduction, you know, the 15,000 people outside your hotel.
Yeah. Well, I was staying...
What was that like?
Oh, it was... Well, I'd never been here, and I had no idea. I'd been very successful in America at the time, but I'd never been here, and I really didn't know what to expect. I'd gotten off of an airplane. I'd gotten onto an airplane in Italy, where I'd spent a month alone in the Alps, in a town that no one spoke English. No one knew who I was. And it was fantastic. I skied, and I was sort of a hippie, so it worked for me. And I drove around all over Europe in this van. And I got on an airplane and thought, okay, now I have to go to work. I walked off the airplane, and there were police all over. And I thought, this is weird. I wonder what this is about. And the moment they took me and they walked me past a certain section at Heathrow at the time, I heard these mad screams, and the police took me down all the way, and I can remember hysterically laughing, thinking how ironic this was, having just come from this
after the solitude,
you know, and this solitude to this madness. And they took me down onto the field and threw me in the back of a car, and off we went. And the whole week that I was here, it just continued to build. And every night they were out in front of the Dorchester Hotel on Park Lane and were singing a lot of the songs on my first solo LP, Cherish. And
the management were thrilled.
Well, it was insane for all of the people that were staying there. They hated me, of course, you know. You know, get rid of them.
Sleep, those David Cassidy songs.
It was the last time, actually, that a hotel would have me. No, I mean it. I had to stay on a boat the next time I came, because no hotel, remember that one? And actually, a few fans, and let's hope they're not here today, dove into the Thames, which was not the cleanest bit of water, as much as I love it here. Yeah, I mean, you know, there were things growing on it.
Just to try. But, I mean, did it get to the point where you couldn't go anywhere, you know, that life, in a way, was taken over by fans?
Yeah. It was a very unreal existence. And because I did it alone, and I traveled around, even though I had bodyguards and security and people like that, I lived alone. And...
like, how many people would have been traveling with you regularly?
Well, it depended. If I was touring, I had 30.
And yet you were lonely? Well,
they were all basically employees who were working for me to try and, you know, I mean, they were doing this as a vocation, as a job. And I would get, you know, they'd go stay someplace else, and I'd go be holed up somewhere. And I spoke quite a lot with John Lennon about it. You know, there are not a whole lot of people who really could appreciate the isolation of it. It's not a reality that anyone can possibly understand until you live it. And you can't do the things that most of us wish we didn't have to do, like go to the supermarket or go to the bank, and all the simple things that we all take for granted are gone.
Sure.
And when you miss them for years. But I was doing 18 hours a day, working on the television show for 12 hours, then I'd go and record Then I'd, you know, sleep 5 hours, and on the weekends I'd go out and tour. And then on hiatus, I'd come and tour all over the world. So I literally stopped my emotional and my own development. Was arrested at 19.
Well, I should imagine quite frightening, because we have a piece of film where you're actually inside a van, being taken away, I think, from Wembley Stadium, having completed the concert. And it's quite frightening. Now, we're going to pick up on the atmosphere here.
Okay.
You think it's worth it?
No, it's worth it. It's just, you can't compare the high to anything else, you know? Nothing else gets you there like going up there and feeling that intensity, all that energy.
Hold tight, man, hold tight! Does this kind of thing frighten you? Does it frighten you?
No, I'm not frightened. It's anticipation, you know? I'm not really frightened, though.
Okay.
You get so it becomes sort of like, you get kind of used to it, you know?
We're nearly away.
Without trying to be blasé, you know, it's like an occupational hazard.
You'd miss it if they didn't do it, would you?
Well, I suppose I probably would, yeah.
That was honest.
Probably miss it.
Yeah, well, you know, I did.
But it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it was quite incredible. I actually missed the connection and the opportunity to perform and to sing and to act and to work, but I knew that I had to start anew and do something for myself as opposed to the business of David Cassidy. I had to try and take care of. People thought it was a very brave thing that I did by retiring and walking away from it at the time.
And how old were you when you retired?
24.
Oh,
well,
24.
I walked away from it at the top, and the only person that cares about that, of course, is me. But it, I think, ultimately saved my life and perhaps saved my career, because I didn't end up being some sad nostalgia act. I
believe that Elvis actually, in a way,
Yeah.
either directly or indirectly I suppose in your case, was responsible for you retiring, because you didn't want to end up like him.
Yeah, I met him, and there was a real sadness about him. And as we saw in the end, he was a very lonely, isolated, and very sad, sick guy. And you know, there are very few people who get dealt that hand in this card game of ours. So you have to just, for me, I thought, well, there's that, or John Lennon was a better role model for me, because he was already into being a human being and demystifying himself. And I talked with him. There were very few people, though, that could have really understood it.